Good afternoon, my name is Fernanda Matute and I will talk about K13 proper mutation and malaria resistance. Definitions. What is malaria resistance? Resistance is the ability to restrict the growth and development of a specific disease and the damage they cause when compared with the susceptible plants variety under similar environment conditions and disease pressure.
Malaria is a disease caused by parasites that invade the human red blood cells. Blood-sucking mosquitoes pass these parasites from person to person. Every year, millions of people are infected with malaria. More than 500,000 of those infected will die, the majority of children under the age of 5. Scientists want to understand why some people die from malaria, while other people are able to survive. Many important clues may be hidden in our family trees, in the genetic traits passed down through the generations. Some genetic traits are easy to see in the ways that we resemble our parents. For example, how tall people often have tall children. Other genetic traits are not easily seen, including those that can help people to resist malaria. Genetic traits are hidden in a genetic code found inside the cells in our body. This genetic code is stored in our DNA, in an alphabet of 4 letters, A, T, G, and C. From a blood sample, scientists can read a person's DNA. By comparing DNA from different people, scientists can identify differences and determine whether these differences correspond to specific genetic traits. MalariaGen led a large study in 8 African countries, comparing the DNA from people with severe malaria and healthy individuals. We have discovered a genetic trait that can help people to resist malaria. This genetic trait is linked to how the malaria parasites invade our red blood cells. This newly discovered genetic trait also suggests an ancient diversity in our genetic code that can be traced back many thousands of years. In this time, the parasite's genetic code has also been changing, so it can hide from the human immune system and develop resistance to anti-malarial drugs. Changes like these in the genetic code are evidence of the intense competition between humans and parasites. MalariaGen is studying the changes in both human and parasite DNA to help identify genetic markers that could inform malaria control measures.
Anopheles funesti, an international study in which participate the Higher Council for Scientific Research, has shown that the point mutation in the enzyme glutamine transferase is responsible for the resistance of the mosquito Anopheles funesti in the insecticide DDT. Studios.
This is a common mosquito. Where did this mosquito come from? How do mosquitoes live? And why does man fight mosquitoes? Mosquitoes breed in water. Stagnant water in a swamp like this is a good breeding place. Mosquitoes breed in trash heaps where water may collect. Old tin cans filled with rainwater become breeding places for mosquitoes. Undrained puddles of stagnant water are filled with mosquito wrigglers during the breeding season. Most of the mosquitoes that annoy us breed in many places right around our homes. They breed in damp spots around the house and yard, and especially in roof gutters which are clogged up. Mosquitoes even breed in such odd places as trees, where there are holes filled with rainwater. The common mosquito lays its eggs on the water. Here they are, a floating mass of eggs, like a boat or a raft. A raft of eggs of the common mosquito contains from 100 to 400 eggs. In warm weather, the eggs hatch in a day or so into larvae. The larvae squirm and pull free from the egg cases. The larvae come to the water surface to breathe. Each larva breathes through a tube called a siphon at the end of its body. Tiny brushes at the mouth feed the larva by sweeping in small bits of food, along with a little water. The larva is commonly called a wriggler. During the larval stage, a mosquito sheds its skin, or molts. Ordinarily, it molts 4 times. Between each molting, the larvae grow rapidly. Thousands of mosquito larvae may be living in just such a pond as this. They keep alert to dangers about them. A falling leaf or other disturbance may cause the larvae to dash downward to the bottom. A sudden shadow over the water sends them wriggling to the bottom. But even then, they are not safe from this dragonfly nymph. The dragonfly is only one of many creatures that destroy mosquito larvae. If the larva escapes its enemies during the week or 2 of its larval stage, it begins its 4th molt.
The study of the physical chemistry of the CSIC Roca Solano has worked precisely in the latter by X-ray crystallography. Researchers have compared the structure of the GST from the sensitive and resistant mosquito DDT. The difference observed show that insecticide resistance is the ability to recognize a degraded molecule of DDT. DDT. DDT is dichlorodipheric trichloroethane. It is a prolonged and stable synthetic organochlore insecticide broad-spectrum action employed in the pest control of the oil-scrub cyan fruities. His exotoxic potential is the kill insects on contact, affecting your nervous system. Its toxic effects after being applied in the person for years. A treaty with DDT field retained after 10 years. 50% of the amount applied. It is estimated science inventions in 1939 have been consumed worldwide 1 million, most of which are still disappeared in World Lands Agency.
folks, I just want to talk about this really interesting study that was recently published. In this particular study, the author sought to evaluate the association between serum levels of dichloro-diphenyl dichloroethylene, which is a metabolite of DDT. So I'm just going to say DDT because that's much easier to say. So they wanted to evaluate the association between serum levels of DDT and Alzheimer's disease, and whether apolipoprotein E genotype modifies that relationship. So some background on Alzheimer's disease. It's the most common neurodegenerative disease worldwide, and cases are expected to increase threefold over the next 40 years, especially in the U.S. as the baby boomer population ages. Etiologic factors of late onset Alzheimer's disease are not yet completely understood, but include genetic, environmental, and lifestyle factors that influence a person's risk for developing the disease. The apolipoprotein E4 allele is one well-known gene that has a relatively strong effect on the risk of Alzheimer's disease. Few studies have explored the potential of environmental exposures to contribute to Alzheimer's disease, but occupational exposures to metals, solvents, and pesticides is reported to be a potential environmental contributor. In this particular study, the authors evaluated the association between serum DDE, which is basically DDT, serum DDT levels, Alzheimer's, and mini mental status examination, which is a score for assessing cognitive function in folks with Alzheimer's. So that was a case control study. Included people with Alzheimer's and controls. Serum levels of DDE were measured in 79 control and 86 Alzheimer's patients. The main outcomes of interest were serum DDE levels, Alzheimer's diagnosis, severity of Alzheimer's as measured by the mini mental status exam, and interaction with the ApoE4 status. So in this first table, you can see it's the serum levels of DDE, and again, I'm not going to say that word, it's a tough one to say. But basically what it shows you on the left is the control. Those are the people who don't have Alzheimer's, and on the right is people with Alzheimer's. And there's a statistically significant increase in serum DDT levels in those with Alzheimer's. The mean was 2.64 in the Alzheimer's group versus 0.69 in the control group. In the second table, it's the odds of Alzheimer's disease by tertile of the DDT distribution. So what they did is they split the group up, those individuals with Alzheimer's, up into three sections or three clusters based on their level of the serum DDT. And in the red box here on the right side, you can see that after adjusting for age, sex, race, ethnicity, location, and other covariates, people in that third quartile, or third tertile, were still 3.4 times more likely to develop Alzheimer's disease.
Thank you.